Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats at ICC. I'm here to analyze a game played in Team 4545 League. This was played in team event number 57 in the 7th round. And it was selected as Game of the Week. There weren't many games this week. It's just an extra round because the way the pairings worked out. Never mind. Anyway, it's certainly one of the most peculiar games I've ever made a video for. It just takes on just a whole bunch of unusual characteristics. I'm going to do my best to try to decipher all this in an explainable way because that's the whole purpose of these videos, try to find some way for you to get something you can take away and apply to your own game. Here, the culprit is we're just in an odd offbeat opening, okay, and then things just get very imbalanced quickly. So we'll try to look for ways to avoid these possibilities. Now, one factor is I wish we had the full game score. You know, if whoever nominated it had saved it to their library like I've asked, I'd have the full-time stamp right here. See, I'm pointing my arrow. See where it shows no time? Okay. Well, I'd have that if you guys would do this, okay? I've asked for it, and it doesn't happen. Anyway, I do have, look at this here, I'll drag this over, look at that. See, I've got the times there. So I can kind of refer to it, but it's a bit of a nuisance. I just want to point out, see, look, I've got the times. So everything's fine here. Now White plays the Trompowsky. That's what this is called, okay? And Black plays D6. Now I've used this opening as White sometimes in blitz chess just to mess around, try something different. A lot of times what I'll just do is I'll double Black's pawns, and it's going to lead to an even game. Black shouldn't mind the double pawns, and he doesn't seem to mind them right here. But Black's next move is kind of peculiar, and I think this is what starts him down the line of something a little odd, a little offbeat. Okay, what he plays is knight Bd7. Now, what this seems to do is he's saying, okay, if you want to take the knight, then I'll take back with my knight, and I won't have double pawns. Well, what's missing with that logic? Well, Black was allowing double pawns last move. Why does he mind them so much this move? And we're going to see D7 would have been a good square for Black to have kept vacant. So what Black could just do here is just play G6, and he shouldn't mind this exchange. This Black bishop is going to come to G7, and eventually this pawn will get to F5, and Black will have full equality. Okay, so the move I'm going to criticize for Black in this position right now is knight Bd7. Now again, we don't have the time stamping, so let's see how long Black took to pick that move. Okay, his time went from 46:09 to 46:46. Here, it's right here. See? Okay, which means he gained. Let's do the math. 37 seconds on his clock. Okay, he spent 8 seconds on knight Bd7. If you're in an unfamiliar line, you don't want to take 8 seconds on a move. You do that in blitz chess, not in standard chess, okay? You can't really calculate. You can't look at the possibilities that White can do. And it doesn't seem like White can do much out of this position, so I can understand one being a little innocent, or lulled to sleep, so to speak, that this thing is not going to get crazy. But you kind of need to understand some of the ideas that I've just shown. It's okay to allow double pawns, okay? So anyway, White just goes on, and the game looks fine. Now Black should consider here a move like E5. Take this into an old Indian style game. If he plays E5, I believe he has full and comfortable equality. And I guess you could even say, to some degree, this could end up being like the Philidor defense, Hannaham variation. Let's see if we can transpose into that. You know, you got to be careful here. This E5 square is hanging. No, it's not hanging. I think C6. Okay. Now the point is, if pawn takes, you're gonna take with the pawn. And Black's, I think, as far as I can tell, he's in the fiddler defense, and the hand-ham variation is solid for black. So anyway, let's just back it up. What black does is he plays G6, so he's wanting to fianchetto. He could have done this last move, as I was pointing out, and then all of a sudden white throws in an aggressive F4. And I doubt seriously that black's been in this position before or really understands it. I'm not even sure if white's been in this position and understands it. I can't answer this question. But we have to bring the timestamp thing in here and look at the decision-making process. Okay, F4 was... White took his time on that move. Okay, good job. His clock went down over 6 minutes. But black's response is immediate. Okay, pretty quick. He goes from 47.16 to 47.33. So he's gained 17 seconds, meaning he took 28 seconds on this move. And what's white trying to do here? Well, push his pawns forward, right? Okay. The problem that's going to come up, we'll see it here. Let's just show you what the problem is. Now, it's not the easiest thing to visualize unless you take 2 or 3 minutes figuring this position out. You can't just play a move in 17 seconds and understand what's going to happen, because just watch this confusion that comes up here. Okay, he plays it looks like a normal, realistic developing move, right? Okay, but watch what happens. This is what's interesting. E5 gets thrown in. Now that knight's under heat. Now, nobody wants to put their knight back on G8, but that's the best move here. Okay, and he plays knight H4, and all of a sudden white says, hey, look what I've got, G4. Now, that knight's a goner. What are you going to do? Well, the only thing that black can do is play H6, because he's going to lose a piece otherwise. And white just grabs the knight. Black must take the bishop. And then look at the black pawn structure. Look at the black king side. It's just wrecked. Okay? Black was playing all this nice and nonchalantly, like he's just going to tuck his king away in the side with his fianchetto bishop and play chess. And in a normal style position we see in countless openings. Okay? Now, look what's happened to the black game. Who wants to play this? You know, my goodness. I don't want to play this position as black. I mean, ew. Okay? And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just saying, you get into something unfamiliar, you got to stop and see a possibility like this. Especially if you have a rating of 2140, you have to see this coming. So how can black avoid this? Now that's the issue here. Okay, how can black avoid this? Well, one drawback that black had was when E5 was pushed. I'd mentioned earlier that it would have been better to keep this D7 square open. That knight could happily drop back to D7, and everything would be fine, and we've got a chess game on our hands. Okay, but black has just blocked that own square. So what else can black do here? If E5 is coming, is E5 playable himself? Well, let's just take a quick look. Oop, it's not even black's move here. Is E5 playable here? Okay, well, let's take a look. It might be. You know, hey, this gives black. Oh no, it's not playable. We got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Queen takes and then wins everything. Okay, so it's just a thought I had. But in light of what took place that you've seen, what if black just throws in H7? Okay. Here's the point. Now, this bishop needs to commit. Hey, we're happy if he takes. Okay, then we don't care so much if he plays E5 here, right? We don't care about that 1 minute. But suppose white retreats. Now go ahead and play bishop G7. Now, granted, we've given up a little bit. The black king's king side's a little weaker than it was. Okay, this pawn's on H6. It's no longer securing G6, but better to give an inch than to give a mile. Okay, better to just play something like this and try and recoup your losses and do your best and make white prove that that little pawn weakness on the king side is going to doom black. We have a very fascinating struggle to ensue here. A grandmaster would sit there and methodically pick that apart against another grandmaster, but you know, we're not asking guys to play grandmaster chess. We're asking them to play regular chess and let everything else fly as it flies. But you see, the key here is now if white goes through with this e5 push, we have a new square. We have h7. Now, that certainly looks more attractive than putting it on g8. Hey, it's another defender for the king. The king's going to castle, and black's going to try to figure things out. Okay, I think it's not exactly the most comfortable thing in the world to play a move like that, but really, white's attacking with one piece here. Okay, this knight on c3, well, yeah, might get into the game, but everything else that white owns is still not developed. So white's a long way from getting his attack going, and it's like I say, it's a game of chess. But at least this position kind of resembles a chess game that you're comfortable with, that you're normally seeing. What we got into was just something just totally different. Okay, so let's just now follow the game now that we've maybe found an improvement for black. Okay, here comes g4, and we got to play this. Oh, there was one other point I forgot to mention. If we use my idea, if we do this first and here, and then here and here, black can play this, and white doesn't have time for g4 because f4 is hanging. So here black can get away with this knight h5. Big difference because f4 is loose, and that was created by the pawn to h6. Okay, I forgot to mention that. So let's get back to the game and just watch how odd this game gets. Okay, so we knew what happened. We saw that already. And we said the black pawn structure is shattered, and what's going to happen now? Well, first thing that happens is black starts opening up the center. Now is that wise? Well, white isn't developed. What should black be thinking about? Well, he should be thinking about his king safety. That's what he should be thinking about. g6 is a problem. Okay? How's black going to defend it? How can white attack it? Well, he can put a bishop on d3. He can put a queen on d6. Okay? Well, you can always defend it by knight f8. Now, we didn't want to put a knight on g8, but maybe the knight needs to go to f8. This will give a diagonal for the bishop to get to f5, and then the queen can go to d7, then you can castle queenside. Okay, the king might have some safety over there because white's not ready to attack. And does white even want to castle kingside in this position? Probably not. This is the point when black should start thinking about where to put his king, not opening up the center. Okay, so now, like I say, gets complicated. White now says, hey, I'm not going to take back the pawn. I'm not going to activate your knight. I'm not going to activate your bishop. I'm going to be a pawn down, but leave you with a crummy pawn that you can't do much with. So now black's got a little more egg on his face because this game isn't turning out exactly like he wanted. Now, how much time did he take on d6? Let's see. Got to find it. Yeah, look, white's taking his time working this game, and look at black's clock. Okay. FG6, okay, 47:27, then D takes E5, he goes up to 47:49. He took 22 seconds, or he gained 22 seconds on his clock, meaning he spent 23 seconds on this move. Now, what have I said, those that are watching these videos with regularity? What's the number one killer of games, or the number one reason why people lose games in Team 4545 League? It's because they move too fast, okay? You have nearly an average of 2 minutes a move. Why are you spending 22 seconds? Okay, why? Are you here to play chess? A good long game of chess? Or are you here to play blitz chess? You know, there's all kinds of blitz opportunities all day long on ICC. You can get in those tournaments. You can just post a seek, and I'm sure it'll get satisfied in seconds. Play the 15-minute pool. Whatever you want to do. Standard Slamato. There's all kinds of things that you can do to play this style. So white's taking his time and working this out and doing a good job. And as I say, it just black's game gets awkward. It's very awkward. He needs to get his king castle queenside. And I think black's proud of knight c5. He's got his knight on a better square than f8, right? He's got an active knight, but he's just got fundamental problems in his position. The pawn structure on the king side is shredded. and the king is in the center. That means the king needs to get to c8. Okay, get the king to c8, and everything's fine. But look at this move. What's white doing, or what's black doing? Black's not developing. Now, how long do you take on that move? Let's check this out. Okay, let's see. What move is it? Move 12. 45:59. So his clock went down a minute, just a minute and a half. Okay, it took over 2 minutes on this move. We'll give him that. But white, is black trying to attack white here? That's the question I'm asking. Or is black trying to play preventative maintenance? What's black trying to do? You've got me. I don't know. What can I say? This would have been a good time to do a lot of other different things. Okay, you got to get the king safe. I guess bishop b5 check could come in and be a nuisance, but hey, well, let's do this. You know, let's play bishop f5. It's such a nice diagonal. Okay, now let's throw this check at you. Okay, guess what? We can bring the knight back. Now this doesn't help black get castle queenside, but white's not ready to attack. So let's castle. Now how can we get this queen out so that we can castle? It's getting a little tricky in here. You know what we can do? Let's back up. Let's not even play bishop f5. Let's just play a6. So, you know, it's no different than the move rook h4. It's been neither one seemed to help. Okay, now let's castle for white. Okay, now bishop f5. Okay, now what's white going to do? Well, he should develop something, right? Hey, look, I'm getting developed too. You know, black's coming out. Well, I'll overprotect my pawn on d5, and voila, black's castled. Black's safe. White has nothing. Now, arguably, there could be something in there. This is just an idea of one possible line where you're focused on developing pieces. Now, this video has lasted 17 minutes. I've discussed a lot in 17 minutes, right? If black had didn't have to think for 17 minutes on any one of these moves, but if he had thought for 5 minutes, because I don't think any of my discussions has gone longer than even 2 minutes on a particular line. If black had thought for 2 or 3 minutes and thought about getting his pieces developed, he could have maybe tried this approach. Okay, white just didn't have enough development in the game to get anything going. He just got this weird imbalance of the pawn structure on the king side. I mean, the queen side looks normal. The king side looks crazy. It's just not there. It's not like what you're used to seeing. So anyway, rook h4. Let's see what he's trying to do with that rook. So white develops. Now you'd think maybe white would put the knight on f3. You know, hey, attack the rook. What's black trying to do here? Why not knight f3? Gee, you know. Well, the knight's loose there. There's nothing guarding it, but it is attacking this rook. So this rook's got to move. What's he planning to do? Put it on d4? I don't know. Like I say, this is just a strange game. And maybe you're afraid of this bishop b5 check thing coming in. Well, you got bishop d7 if you need it. You know, so like I say, it's an odd game. How much? Well, it's white spending his time. How much time did he spend on knight e2? Let's see. He spent a couple minutes. His clock goes from 26:49 down to 25:29. Okay, so, you know, and it took away the option of this check. I mean, maybe I'm just blind. Maybe I'm missing something silly, but you know, this game's odd. Hey, he played the move I want him to play. Okay, good job. Now white castles. Now, what about queen d7? Okay, maybe even queen d6. Well, queen d6 might run into knight b5, but then the queen can go over to b6. And then black can get castled. So what does black do? He wants to attack. Okay? Wrong thing to do. You're not developed. Okay? You don't start your attack until you're developed. Okay? The king's in the center. The queen's out of play. The rook, this rook, it's a free rook, okay? I mean, it's not a free rook, it's just an unused rook, okay? Got to get it in the game. So, just strange. hey, look, a tempo on your rook. And then white finds a good move and pins a pawn. Now let's, again, I don't have the time stamping here, so let's bring it up. How much time did black spend on this continuation? Let's see, knight c5, okay, rook h4, we got that. His clock went down 50 seconds on bishop f5, meaning he took a minute and a half on it. And then knight e4, his clock, he gained 26 seconds, meaning he took 19 seconds on knight e4. Black is not thinking about this game. Okay, he's got more time than he started with, and his game is just a mess. It's time to say, okay, I messed up. I didn't play this opening wisely. I've got a crazy game. Stand up, slap yourself in the face for playing silly, and stretch and say, okay, what can I do to save this game? You know, don't be doing these maneuvers that he was just doing. Now, white's got a little threat here. Queen takes b7. Okay, queen. You know, a lot of times they say don't snatch the queen knight pawns, but black's saying he can do it, and he's saying if you take my rook, what am I going to do? That's a good question. Is he going to take the rook back, rely on the pin, or is he going to snatch this pawn? I think he's going to take the rook. But this might be okay for black unless he can't get this bishop out of there. You know, this bishop's out of play. How are you going to get it in the game? Well, let's see. Let's put it here. Now, let's see. Since this game is so funky, let's play some funky moves. Okay, now we're on this guy, and we're on this guy. Yeah, this is fine for white. Okay, so anyway, what's black do? He plays e6. Okay, now he's inviting a discovery on his queen, for what it's worth. He's still allowing taking here. How long did black spend on this move? I mean, my goodness, this is just crazy chess. Okay, e6. Well, he spent, his clock went down on nearly 2 minutes, so he spent close to 3 minutes on it. But I don't know what else to suggest for black here. You know, you could run into pin problems with this. This thing could be trapped if you're not careful. So maybe e6 was forced. Okay, so white just ignores the discovery. He says it's not going anywhere. I'll save my rook. Okay, and here black says, look, I've got the center. I own the center. Look at that. Pawns on e5 and d5. I've got a bishop stuck on e4. I've got a tremendous game. Yeah, you could say black has a tremendous game, but there's one drawback with black's game. Here, this guy right here. He's not castled. Okay? He's in the center. He's in trouble. Okay, so knight c3. And now, watch this. Rook b8. He wants to save his pawn. Well, what does moving the rook do? Well, it means you can't castle. That's what it means. Now the king's really stuck. Okay? So, what else does black have here? Well, like I said, he had this pawn center. Maybe it's time to just gambit a couple pawns and head for the hills, okay? Throw caution to the wind. Okay, what about this move? Okay, the point of this is if you take the pawn, hey, fine, go grab a couple pawns. I'm going to find a way to open... Oh, wait, no. I'm going to try to find a way to open up this position for my bishops, or at least blockade things. Hey, I've got 4 pawns, you've got 5, I've got the bishop pair. You know, white's going to have to work to win this, to recognize this advantage. You know, now we're castling by hand over on this direction, but black's funky play on the king side, trying with his rook moves and stuff, he just took away the whole possibility to castle that way. I mean, white's... Oh, wait. This pawn's hanging. How long's that been hanging? Oh, since I played bishop f5. Yeah, okay, so... whose move was it? Was it maybe just have to leave the bishop there because the rook's guarding it, and just send the king over now and get him, and just pray for the best that just pray for the best that everything's going to work out over there. You know, like I say, it's a very peculiar game, and so many crazy things could happen and go wrong. But rook b8, I mean, it's a move you don't want to play. now suddenly the position opens up. And one thing White's doing is White's getting developed. And now more discoveries are possible. And it's really hard to find a move for Black here. I don't know what to suggest. This just seems to lose material. And what else could Black have done? Well, he could have tried what I said earlier. Just sacrifice that pawn and try to get something out of it. So there goes the queen. But at least Black got something for it. He got a rook and a bishop for it. But really, that's not enough compensation. The queen will play havoc on the rook and the bishop. It's just too powerful. And now Black tries to return the favor and win the queen for the rook and the bishop. Black will have no part of that, or White will have no part of that, and Black resigned. Now, one more look at the timestamp. Let's see. Black finally started taking his time. When did he take his time? Let's see. He had more time than he started as late as move 14, move 15, move 16. He started spending a couple minutes. He finally went into a think after White played knight takes d5. Let's back it up. Black finally started taking his time in this position. And what did I say? What does Black do here? There's really nothing he can do. He's just in trouble. You can't play queen c8 to get out of the line of fire. This is immediate checkmate, right? So the lesson is take your time, and how do you get a high rating like this? I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying there's a lot of players that take their time, that plan things. They're just not experienced enough to get a rating like you have, and they want to know. They want to know, how do you get that rating? Okay, well, if you want to keep that rating, you don't play this kind of chess. Okay, you take your time, because this just turned out to be one of those games that could open up. So many of them you can't open up and get this crazy imbalances like this, but this one was one of them. So like I say, it's certainly one of the most peculiar games I've ever done a video for, and I hope it was entertaining. I hope you learned something from it. Things that we've already said before. Take your time in a game, develop your pieces. Is just another chapter in the story and proof that what I say is right. If you don't take your time, you don't develop your pieces, you're asking for it. And if you win, count your blessings and try harder next time. Oh well, thanks so much for your time. Take care.